Thanks, Martin. More now on our top story. A Taliban leader has told Sky News that the UK is the group's biggest source of funding. Speaking to our chief correspondent, Stuart Ramsey, he said that money sent by British Muslims helps to arm his men and finance their battle in Afghanistan. He also claimed to have dedicated fighters in Britain ready to launch attacks as soon as he gives the order. Well, here with me at the Gherkin is Masoumeh Torfeh, who's an expert on Afghanistan at SOAS, the School of Oriental and African Studies in London. Also here is Meleagrou-Hitchens, a terrorism expert at the International Centre for the Study of Radicalisation at King's College, London. Welcome to you both. Thanks for coming in. What about that claim, Masoumeh, from the Taliban leader that Britain is a red-hot source of funds and fighters? Do you believe him?
Well, I think the main source of funding for the Taliban is the military intelligence of Pakistan, the ISI. They were actually engineered, the Taliban were engineered by the ISI in 1994, and after that then the Saudi Wahhabi groups are funding the Taliban, and no doubt there are groups of Islamic supporters, Islamist supporters, hardline people in the UK who are funding them. But apart from that, to
any great extent?
Well, I mean, the information is not available as such, but more importantly is that the Taliban may be a terror machine, but they are extremely good at publicity, and this is the way they win a lot of international journalists, take them in and make them feel as if they're more powerful than they are. They are not that powerful, and they are a group of bandits who are funded and work only for that. They don't have these Islamic ideas that they claim to have.
Alexander, do you agree?
Yes, it's not really a surprise. In fact, it's a big issue. It's going to be debated tomorrow in the House of Lords, I believe, terror financing, about freezing assets. You know, the UK has long been the European hub of radical Islam, and the money will be coming through charity as well as individuals. And we've even seen in the last year there was a report of the Green Crescent charity funding a extremist madrasa in Bangladesh, where they had not only arms caches but a text written by Osama bin Laden, and this is the money was coming directly from here, and that's really not an isolated incident. That happens.
Do you agree? Because we had a statement tonight from a group, an umbrella group representing British and Irish charities in Afghanistan, rejecting any idea of money being channeled through charities into the Taliban.
Yes, I mean, I don't think they are channeling through funds like that. I think it would be through Islamic or Islamist organizations, and these will not be done in a very open, very outflowing way. There would be scattered forms of funding.
Now, you're both based at very reputable universities here in London. We've read a lot of stories recently about the radicalisation of Muslims in London universities. What's your experience?
Well, my personal experience, I haven't seen anything like that. I'd say that at UCL there are questions to be asked about Umar Farouk Abdul Muttalib, the so-called underwear bomber, and his activities there, and the people he was associated with certainly should be questioned. There was a report that came out recently by UCL which didn't answer all the questions, so it's certainly an ongoing problem.
What about at SOAS?
SOAS does have quite a number of Islamic students, and even when you're just going around in SOAS, you do see that a lot of kind of Taliban-looking people hanging around.
Because that doesn't make them supporters, not necessarily.
Exactly, and that is why you know, they are free to hold sessions or hold meetings together and do whatever activity that they want, as long as it's not, you know, strictly out of academic possibilities.
I'm surprised you're so sanguine about the Taliban, saying that they're not really a force, a bunch of bandits. They appear to be fighting to a standstill, the Allied forces out there.
Yes, what I meant by that was that they really are not, some people kind of compare them with the IRA or some other groups that just because they're terrorist organizations, but I don't think they have that sophistication behind them. I think they were a group that were, as I said, engineered by the ISI, and that they mainly work for money and for power. They decide they have very simple ideas like get the foreigners foreigners out of this country and Islam. And if you go anything beyond that, then they don't know. And the reason why they're very keen to publicize themselves and to enter talks, I know that it's said that they don't want to talk, but the moderate figures of the Taliban interested in talking because they want to get into the cabinet and they want to have positions of power.
Let me finish with Alexander briefly. Should we be worried about an enemy within in Britain? Dr. Howells, a former government minister, says absolutely yes.
I think Dr. Howells had it pretty much right. I think we don't want to overstate it. We don't want to spread paranoia, but there is a movement, Salafi jihadist movement in this country, which, if you look at it in a sort of, perhaps a sort of Clausewitzian total war, where they're saying that you don't only fight a physical war against the enemy, you're fighting financial war and you're fighting an ideological war. And in fact, it is your duty, they say to them. Right. Organizations like Al-Muhajirun, Anjem Chowdhury and others, they say to them it is their duty, it is a fard al-ayn, as they call it, to give what they can to the jihad. And if they don't, they're not proper Muslims, according to the extremists.
We're going to have to leave it there. Massimo, Alexander, many thanks.